The Seattle Kraken just robbed the NHL as Ron Francis pulls off an absolute fleece of the New York Rangers as Kaapo Kakko is on his way to Seattle in exchange for fan favorite and housemate of Matty Beniers, Will Borgen. There is a lot to break down here, but Mark, Seattle really came out on top. We're going to break this whole thing down, including where Kakko is going to play, a breakdown of the trade coming up on this episode of Hat Trick HQ. And I know Kraken fans are going to be happy because Rangers fans definitely aren't. But before we get into the video, I wanted to remind you guys that 91% of you watching this video are not subscribed to the channel. We have daily NHL content here at Hat Trick HQ. Hit the button down below. It's completely free if you want to stay up to date on all things hockey. Mark, let's dive right into this. Let's take a look at this trade. Kaapo Kakko, a guy whose name has been circulated in a bunch of rumors as the Rangers look to be collapsing from the inside out. He is officially sent to the Seattle Kraken for Will Borgen, a third-round pick, and a sixth-round pick in the 2025 NHL Draft. And my first reaction, and I think it's the same reaction as a lot of Kraken fans, Mark, this is, honestly, I consider this a fleece. He's a former second overall pick with still some untapped offensive potential, and he's turned into a very solid defensive forward. There's no risk here. I know Will Borgen lives with Matty Beniers. I know he's a fan favorite in Seattle. People love him, but this is the pinnacle of asset management if you're Ron Francis, giving up some later draft picks and a guy who's an expiring unrestricted free agent for an RFA and Kaapo Kakko who has untapped potential. This is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Kaapo, the biggest thing is New York Rangers fans kind of knew that he was on his way out, but I think the return is something that they're not a fan of. Yes, moving on from Morgan is sad for the Kraken, but you're getting, like you said, a former second overall pick, only 23 years old. He's an RFA at the end of this year. He has had productive season. His defensive game has improved year after year. Picking up a piece like this is not only helping the Kraken at the moment, but for the future as well. Looking at Borgen, yes, like we said, moving on from a guy like this might not be the best for fans, as he was a fan favorite, but getting Kaapo for this low of a price is a steal for them. Do you think this is someone that could be ejected straight into their top six?
I mean, it's tough to say. Like, Seattle's lineup is honestly fairly deep. They have a lot of guys on like middling contracts. You look there, their top line right now being McCann, Stevenson, Burakovsky, and you got Schwartz with Beniers, and you got Bjorkstrand and Tolvanen even on the third line. I was wondering where Kakko was going to end up playing, but looking at what some Kraken fans are saying, because they're not my primary team, not afraid to admit that, but I love watching the Kraken play. Right now, it seems like he very well could be injected right into that top six, as you know, maybe he could be making up for some of that defensive capability that Chandler Stevenson lacks. And I'm seeing a lot of people saying Kakko and Stevenson seems to be a pair that Kraken fans would really like to see moving down the line. If you're a Kraken fan, let us know down below what you think Kakko's line mate should be. I think, honestly, I don't know if it's crazy to say you should be on that top line right away, because it's not like Burakovsky's bad or Schwartz is bad or Tana's bad. It's just like Kakko could be given a great opportunity on offense with some other good players in Stevenson and McCann, while also making up for some defense. Like, I think Seattle, while having a deep lineup, and especially with Eberle on LTIR, it's given Kakko a chance to come in and be an impact player right away.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is, like you said, with the injuries, they do have Yanni Gourde. They have Jordan Eberle that's out. I know Daniel Sprong's listed here, but he is listed on the lineup as well. So this is a deep forward team that's going to have to make room to get Kaapo in. I mean, it's just a few days ago when we seen him come out, being upset, being scratched with the New York Rangers. He wasn't sure why. He said he hasn't been the worst guy. So I can't see them going out to scratch him to try to find room within this lineup. He's going to
Oh, no
inject
chance.
into this lineup. And I do think the biggest thing, and like you said, I think he's going to go into this top six. He's a guy that can go in, help up on the defensive end, but he can also pot you goals. He hasn't been shy of going out and putting up 10 plus goals. We've seen him put up his career high of 18 goals with a more of an offensive just chance within this Kraken team. I think he's going to flourish not only on the defensive end, but also on the offensive end. Josh, looking at this, do you think we're going to see a new sign of Kaapo just kind of come out where he could score 20 goals with this team?
Well, here's the thing. Like, the Kraken have a decent history with highly touted prospects, higher draft picks who haven't been producing as well offensively as they'd expect. Just look at Tolvanen, right? I think they claimed him on waivers, right? I think he was waived by, what was it, the Predators, and the Kraken went out and got him, and he was an immediate impact player and helped the Kraken go on a great run, leading them to a playoff spot. And he's been an amazing fan favorite as well. His numbers are down a tick this year, but he's still beloved. He's playing some great third line minutes for them. I think Kakko being in a new environment could be great. And also, I foresee him playing a lot lot more power play time, because you look at his points, 14 points this year, 4 goals, 10 assists. I'm pretty sure 12 of those are even strength. Kaapo Kakko has an incredible shot that was one of his most highly touted attributes as a prospect. Being able to maybe play on a power play with some of Seattle's top players could give him a great chance. If you put him on the right side for his one-timer, I think that could be great too. So I think this is a great opportunity for Kaapo Kakko coming into the Seattle lineup. But I think we'd also be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Will Borgen as well. Just looking at the decor that we see on screen here now, you'll notice he's not in the lineup, right? He's been that kind of seventh D, been in and out of the lineup a little bit, playing just about 15 minutes a game. His time has gone down year over year now. And the big thing, from what I'm seeing from Seattle fans, is that Josh Mahura is just straight up playing better than him right now at a much cheaper cap hit. And while Borgen, like we said, is a fan favorite, I know a lot of you Kraken fans really like him. When you have an unrestricted free agent who's a physical right-hand defenseman, who, Mark, let's be honest, those guys are always in demand. So I think the Rangers are getting a pseudo Trouba replacement with this. But also, like, if Seattle wanted to retain Borgen in the offseason, it would probably cost them more than they'd be willing to pay for him, right? Especially as Mahura's kind of filled in on that third pairing and been very solid for them already. So you're losing Borgen anyway, probably in the offseason, because someone else would probably pay him more than you're willing to do, right? And all you have to do again is toss in a third and a sixth round pick to get a former second overall pick. I do like Will Borgen. I think he'll bring a nice edge to the Rangers, as we saw in that fight clip at the start of the show as he was fighting you. That's where these marks come from, right? That's Will Borgen's fault. He's a great guy, great teammate. But I think if you're a Seattle fan, Mark, if it's you, like, are you accepting that? Even though imagine he's one of your favorite players on your favorite team. But to get rid of a guy who's going to be a UFA for a former second overall pick, I just find it hard to see a world where this is good for the Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, like you said, it is bad to lose some defensemen, especially physical defensemen, when that's something you want in this league. We've seen it work in
Yeah.
the playoffs, especially. But the biggest thing is going out to get a former second overall, not a second pick, a former second overall pick in the NHL draft for this low of a price is something that you can't do every day of the week. It's something where you almost can't just say no to this. It's one of those deals where you almost had to do it. Looking at this, if it comes down to, hey, they need more physicality on the back end, you can go acquire another right-handed defenseman, a left-handed defenseman, whatever it might be that brings a physical edge for a lot cheaper than what it would cost to go out and pick up another guy like Kaapo. So it doesn't really make sense from the Rangers. Yes, they need to make a change. Yes, they had to do something as they're falling and the team looks like it's crumbling within inside itself. But looking at this from the Rangers side, I don't really understand it. It's more of that, hey, let's make a move just to make a move. But from the Kraken side, this makes so much sense. And seeing Kaapo in this lineup, I'm going to pick him up in fantasy. For anyone playing fantasy, I would pick him up as well. I think he's going to play outstanding. Looking at this, do you think there's any worry on the back end, or do you think it's more of a, hey, things are going to work out?
Yet to be seen. I mean, I know one little thing that Kraken fans have been talking about a lot this season is, that edge to their game, like, has been there at some points, but when you lose one of the guys, you could argue the main provider of physicality on this team, that is going to hurt and it is going to be noticeable. And when you move glue guys, sometimes you see unintended consequences, right? So no matter what team you are, no matter what sport it is, when you lose good locker room presences, guys that live with one of your stars of the future in Matty Beniers, it's like there's going to be things that go beyond just the ice, when it comes to things like this. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But in terms of physicality, you can get guys who have physicality if you desperately need that. But this injection of offense that Kakko hopefully should bring to this team, but mostly the injection of defense, especially his incredible numbers 5v5. Just a reminder, it took Kakko until like mid-November for his line to be scored on 5v5, which is unreal to even think about. So if he can even help them a bit defensively, hopefully the physicality maybe won't be as needed, but it's yet to be seen. Let us know your thoughts down below. Kraken fans, fans from all over the NHL, even Rangers fans, we want to hear from you, because that'll do it for this episode of Hat Trick HQ. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, it's completely free, and if you made it to this point in the video, just double check that you are subscribed, because we got stuff like this every single day. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Mark Pye. We'll catch you in the next one.